Today, Suffolk poll came out about top issues to Pennsylvania voters. The economy at 22%, gun control then 17%, abortion 14%, and inflation 13%. Though I think inflation and the economy are all in one. You've been traveling Pennsylvania. You know the state well. What do you think they hear when they listen to the president say that?
Well, they think he's a bit tone deaf. First of all, he's on a beach, right? So everyone is struggling. 70% of people in America are changing their vacation plans this summer because they can't afford the gas. I was in Allegheny County, and there's some parks out there, and this guy said it cost him more to drive to his trailer to the park than it costs to actually rent the space in the park.
Wow.
So these are shocking changes in people's lifestyles.
But it seems like Americans are still traveling, though. Thus far, I mean, isn't that your observation?
Well, they're traveling for sure, but they're not traveling to where they would have gone. They're doing staycations. They're traveling to a place an hour from home. They're coming and going for day trips. And again, America's tightened its belt and done things in the past, but this is a self-imposed problem. And in Pennsylvania, Bill, this is a big issue because the person serving me coffee in the diner knows that our energy policy is a major driver of inflation. It's hurting local communities. It for sure hurts manufacturing. There are companies now who cannot find enough diesel fuel. This is not about the pricing. It's hurting their balance sheets because they can't afford it. But if you cannot find the diesel fuel for your trucks to go build the distribution center, there's no distribution center being built. That hurts all the unions.
Just also in that state, in particular, especially the western half of Pennsylvania, energy is a big issue.
Gargantuan for good reason, because we have the natural gas under our feet in Pennsylvania, enough to power the entire country for hundreds of years. But here's where the hypocrisy comes into the far left. And this is not a Democratic Party issue. This is a far left agenda around the Green New Deal, which as a scientist I'll say can't be done in the way described in the timeline articulated. If we were to take the natural gas under our feet in Pennsylvania and use it to, for example, supplant what other countries are doing and ship it over there, it would be the equivalent of electrifying every vehicle in America, plus putting a solar panel on every roof in America, plus doubling wind energy. So all the renewables are supported more than they could ever deliver on their own just from allowing natural gas to be used. And when Joe Biden says he won't meet with the energy companies, there's a very clear message there, because what they tell me is he won't return our calls. We want to do more. We know we can help. But if we don't trust the federal government to not have some middle-level unelected bureaucrat pass a rule after we put hundreds of millions of dollars into building a pipeline to shut it all down for something we can't control, what responsible business leader is going to make that investment? Tell us, they're saying, that you care about us, that you'll support us, that you'll help us do what's right for America. And we can pump out gas and energy in order to drop energy prices, which will, independent of all the Fed efforts, drop inflation rates.
It is, I'm sure, galling to them that he won't meet with them, but he'll go to Saudi Arabia to meet with the Crown Prince there.
And work with the Iranians, which sells our Venezuelans.
Yes.
But we're actually selling our allies short.
Right.
So what does that message mean to America, to the rest of the world?
You have a big task ahead of you. There's open Senate seat. You won the Republican primary, and so now you're off to the races when it comes to the general, which is a little bit of an odd general, because we have the Democratic candidate who suffered a severe heart ailment in June. His wife on June 14th said that this is about John Fetterman. Her name is Giselle. He fought, I think, one of the hardest races for the last 18 months. He traveled the whole state. Before that, he gave his life to public service for 2 decades. The race is still 5 months away. He has plenty of time to get back out there to meet with voters, which he's anxious to do. And then the USA Today poll showed Fetterman at 56% and you at 37%, undecided 13%, 46 and 37, right? So, and then undecided 13%. How are you going to convince some of those undecideds to come over to your side?
Tincture of time. It's going to happen naturally. That poll was done roughly the day that the Secretary of State endorsed that I had won the primary. So you have a lot of Republicans who are just figuring out that I'm their candidate. And we got to heal the wounds from a contentious primary. The Democrats didn't have a primary like mine. Right. And so naturally, Republicans are going to migrate to my side. That'll even up the race. That's not the issue. The issue is in November, why are people going to vote for me? And they're going to vote for me for 2 main reasons. They realize that we actually have an honest approach to the economy. It's going to reduce inflation and address energy issues. And we also are honest about safety in our streets. Philadelphia has the biggest crime wave of murders ever in its history. That's where I live. And yet Fetterman argued that we should release 1/3 of all prisoners, many of them violent offenders. He doesn't believe in life sentences for murder. He also believes in an open border with sanctuary cities, which makes Pennsylvania already a border state because of narcotics that much worse. These are policies that sound good. They virtue signal, but they don't help the people of Pennsylvania. They will vote on those issues and they'll vote for me.
You essentially have an open field right now. John Fetterman's not campaigning. That must be an enormous advantage for you, at least in the early stage. It seems pretty obvious, right?
I'm working my tail off, and I like the opportunity.
If that's the case, not to win a race like this would be a shocker. Don't you think?
I think I should be favored. I think I probably am. In fact, in the betting lines, I am. but I'm not betting on my own race in that way.
But that poll suggests you're traveling significantly.
If you look at that poll, it's fascinating. If Republicans, when they realize that we are a unified party, and that's what I spent this past week doing, traveling from Pittsburgh up to Erie, across to Lancaster, Harrisburg, up to Wilkes-Barre. When you do that, and all the Senate candidates that I was competing against have endorsed me, the party rapidly unifies.
Yeah, they did.
That already happened in the Democratic Party a month ago. So it's a time issue. And I frankly don't care what's happening with polls right now. I know what the issues that are going to be decided on. And I know that after a couple $100 million, which will be spent in this race, our wage, everyone's going to understand who John Fetterman really is. Someone who's far to the left of Joe Biden. Joe Biden's not popular either. But if you go far to the left of him, no one likes the far left liberal agenda. What they do like, and conservative Democrats are with me on this, as are independents, is someone who honestly speak about the jobs we have to protect in our state and speak with a scientific integrity to what's really going down. If you're going to thrust the Green New Deal, which is intellectually dishonest on Pennsylvanians, you better be able to defend it, and you can't right now. If you're going to thrust soft on crime policies, you better be able to defend it. There's going to be a recall on the DA now in Philadelphia, like there was in San Francisco, because people are witnessing murders. South Street, I took my wife to our first date there 37 years ago. There's open warfare there. Yep. People who are underage, not allowed to have guns for that reason, for many others as well, shooting in the crowds, and they're chasing the police away from trying to help. There's lawlessness that's been supported because people aren't willing to make brave decisions. What I ask is that one thing. We cannot be a free people if we're not a brave people. Please allow yourself the freedom to say what you see. If we do that, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, and I'm speaking to everybody right now, we'll be a healthier country. That's been shut down by people like John Fetterman. I'm for opening up those pathways of communication.
It'll be a fascinating race to cover. We appreciate you coming in.